Good evening guys, and welcome to this Facebook Live on JEE 2018. Now I'm sure that most of you are already getting worried about how your JEE 2018 is going to be, right? It's September and next month mostly your portions will be complete, and after that it's gonna be just the race to get there, right? Alright, so let me give you a brief idea about these examinations, that's JEE Main and JEE Advanced, and then go on into the portions which are important, which are not so important, and which are not important at all. Now, why is that important? Simple, right? Because when it comes to these examinations, it's not really about answering every question. It's about being smart and able to pick those questions which will maximize your score. Right? Have you ever heard of a person who got 100% marks in JEE Mains and JEE Advanced? Yeah, you wouldn't have, because there's nobody like that. So it's not like your board exam papers. It's all about picking the right question and then doing it. So with that in mind, let's discuss a few topics and figure out a few strategies which can be invaluable for you when it comes to JEE preparation. Now, as you know, JEE 2018, or for that matter, for last few years, the examination is divided into two stages. The stage 1 is the JEE Mains and stage 2 is JEE Advanced. Both are OMR sheet based papers, multiple choice papers. So in JEE Mains, as you are aware, it's a 3 hours paper covering physics, chemistry and mathematics, equal weightages, and you're supposed to answer the questions, right? So that's round 1. Based on this, you get admissions to NITs, and a final list of 1.5 lakh students get qualified to write JEE Advanced. Now JEE Advanced is where the IITs really comes in. This paper is set by the IITs, mostly professors from one of the IITs work on it, and then the paper comes to you. The paper standard, I mean, if I compare JEE Advanced to JEE Mains, is few notch higher than JEE Mains, and this is the paper which really tests a lot of people. The reasoning is simple, right? JEE Advanced is about concepts, and concepts are something all of us still lack on. So JEE Advanced papers, I mean, when I speak about JEE Advanced papers, there are actually two papers. There's paper 1 and paper 2. Both these papers will have physics, chemistry and mathematics. Both these are 3 hours long, and it's generally done in the first half and second half of the advanced stage. So this is what it's all about. Now mains, you can take mains either as a computer based examination where you can go to a computer center, take the paper, you will be given a few days to do that, or you can do it in a paper and pencil mode. Now a lot of people come to us asking whether we should do a computer based paper or a paper based pencil paper. See, it all depends on what you're comfortable with. Okay. Even today, only 15% of the students writing JEE Mains actually take computer-based paper. So it's up to you. Whatever you are comfortable, you go for it. Typically, there is no much difference in the standard of these two papers, although a lot of people claim that the computer-based papers are slightly less tougher than the paper-based papers. I would say it's more of a subjective opinion rather than anything. So it depends on you. If you're comfortable computer based paper, go for it. Otherwise the paper pencil will do. So this is briefly about these examinations. Now these are GAN anyone can give, right? I'm sure that you're looking for something useful, some shortcuts, some ideas. So let me also speak to you about some strategies which you can employ while you are preparing for these examinations. Now first question is, why are these strategies important? Very simple. We are all working under a restricted time interval, right? Now, by this month end, your portions in the school will be over. After that, you will have 4 or 5 months time where you will have to simultaneously focus on your board examination, 12th standard, very important stuff, plus your JEE. Now, there will not be any time specifically available for you to prepare for JEE Mains. Why is it so? Because your board will end by end of March, and April 7th will be your JEE Mains. So in 7 days, nobody can really prepare for JEE Mains. So what you need to do in next few months is to simultaneously focus on both your JEE and your board examination. Now this is something a lot of people find tough, right? What is the reason? They'll say that how can I simultaneously focus on it? Actually, I ask you this question, isn't your syllabus the same? It is the same thing, right? Both your board exam and your JEE Mains, JEE Advanced has got the same syllabus. Then why is it tough to focus simultaneously on both? There should not be any reason. So the way you should study any topic is that now itself, when you're preparing, you should learn it all the way till the JEE Advanced level. You should not bother about preparing separately for these examinations. They should be prepared simultaneously. So now, for having said that, let me also give you a few tips about this examination. Now I'm going to the subject or the portions part of it or the syllabus part of it. So what I'll do is I'll start with math, then go to physics and finally move into chemistry. In every one of them, I'll tell you which are the basic topics, which are the topics which has the highest return on investment or highest ROI. That is the topics which are most frequent or highest weightage. And finally, which are the topics which you should not focus too much because the questions from them are lesser. So this is how I am going to segregate my talk, right? Okay, so let's start with mathematics. Now, first of all, in 11th and 12th mathematics, there are a few topics which are only applicable for your JEE Mains. Now, I'm talking about topics like statistics, sets and relations, and reasoning. Now, the question is, okay, if this is only JEE Mains, should I be focusing on it? The answer is yes, you should be. Because look at these topics. I'm talking about something like sets, relations, statistics. This is the building blocks of your modern mathematics. If you don't know your sets and relations properly, forget doing stuff like calculus very well, because it's all built on that. So which is the reason why I told you there are certain basic topics in every subject which you should be a master of. You don't have a choice, you have to learn it. So the basic topics which everyone should be clear about, especially in mathematics, are trigonometry, functions, equations, permutations and combination, and binomial theorem. Let me repeat: trigonometry, equations, binomial theorem, functions, and permutations and combination. Now, are you able to connect? Why am I calling it basic topics? Take for instance case of permutations and combinations. If you don't know PNC, do you think you will be able to do questions in probability, Bayes theorem, etc.? Not at all, right? All these are based on the idea of PNC and fundamental principle of counting. So that means that this topic like Bayes theorem, from which every year for sure one question comes in JEE Advanced, can never be done if I don't know PNC. The reason why I call it a basic topic. Take the case of functions or trigonometry. See, I don't really need to tell you more on how functions, trigonometry, and binomial theorem is going to help you simplify, rationalize, factorize your calculus problems. Every problem in differentiation, integration would want you to have a good knowledge on these topics. The same is applicable for equations. So whatever you do, you have to be a master of this. Now this is about the topics which are there in your syllabus. Now there are certain topics which are not directly in your syllabus, but if you know them, you will be able to really do application question with this coming in. I'm talking about topics like logarithms and basic geometry. Now logarithms is a very important topic when it comes to factorization, especially with calculus. There are a lot of questions which come from logarithm in differentiation, in integration, in limits, and a lot of people get it wrong because they don't know the basic logarithmic equation. If you refer our product, you will see there is a separate chapter on log. It's not really a part of your syllabus, but it is required if you want to crack these higher level topics. Another concept or another set of topic which is very important is Euclidean geometry. Now Euclidean geometry is not part of your syllabus in 11th and 12th. Your centroid, your orthocenter, your altitudes, your circumcenter, your incenter, these are not part of your syllabus. But tell me, haven't you seen these words coming consistently not only in your mathematics but in your physics also? Yes, it does. So what are they? What are the properties associated with it? What is a quadrilateral, or what is a a kite, for instance, is something, if you know, can help you do advanced question very, very easily. This is another reason why we have a module on this also. So this is not really in your syllabus, but knowing this will really help improve your understanding very easily. Now, though that's about basics in mathematics. Now come to the next one, or I would say come to the most interesting part of it. Which are these topics in mathematics where my ROI is the highest, or the return on investment is the highest? That means if I spend 1 hour of my time on this topic, that is where I get the maximum marks rather than spending on some other topic, right? So these are basically the topic from where maximum number of questions come from. I'm talking about topics like sequences and series, matrices and determinants, and very, very importantly, your calculus topics of limit, continuity, differentiation, and differentiability. Why am I starting with this? Now, these are not where the highest number of questions come from, but these are where most number of direct questions come from. If you know the basics of it, I mean, you cannot make a mistake while doing a question in sequence, matrices, limits, differentiation, etc. Mostly it's direct formula application. So these are topics, or these are topics from which you cannot lose a question. You have to get the question from these topics right. So now itself, make a note of it. You will learn this topic from beginning to the end so that you will never ever miss a question, because they will be simple questions. Okay, so that's one part you need to keep in mind. Second, what are the topics where maximum weightage comes in case of mains and advanced? Maximum number of questions comes from these topics of coordinate geometry, conics, 3D, vectors, and integration. Let me repeat. The highest weightage topics when it comes to JEE mains, are coordinate geometry, conics, 3D, vectors, and integration. So now where the problem is that, see, most of these topics, especially 3D and vectors and the later part of integration, these are 12 standard portions. And these portions, unfortunately, are done at a very high speed in your schools and coaching centers. Why? Because you have to finish the portions by end of September, right? And mostly 3D vectors and all, the portions are started by 20th of September. So these are things which are just done. I mean, the portions are just finished for namesake. And this is something any professor who is setting the question paper for IIT is also cognizant about. So what will he do? He'll give higher weightage to it, right? So bear this in mind. Nobody is going to really help you learn at these topics a lot. You'll have to learn it yourself. And you have to learn it because these are the topics from where maximum marks comes from. Actually, 3D vectors and conics and integration are the topics from where maximum weightage comes in both mains and advanced. So you have to be a master of these topics. Vectors and 3D looks very complex, but once you start getting into the details of it, you will come to know that they are very, very simple topics. Most students find it tough because they never study it. Try studying and you will see how easy they are. So this is quickly about it. Now, because I'm talking about integration and conics and all, these are very, very large topics. So let me also be more specific. Within conics, if you look at JEE Advanced in last 5 years, you will see that every year the problem from conics has been mostly parabola. So within conics, parabola becomes the most important part. Yes, ellipse to some extent, but this asymptotes, the other topics are of not that great importance. I've already mentioned this. From probability, Bayes theorem is the most important part. Every year one question comes from Bayes theorem. So this is quickly giving you an understanding on mathematics, what is important, what is not. Now let me go. I'll also tell a few strategies on how you can study, but let me first do physics and then come back to that, right? So in case of physics, if you look at JEE Advanced and JEE Mains, the topics are like this, right? The highest weightage, most importance goes, or most number of questions come from the topics of electricity and magnetism. After that, mechanics is most important. After which, optics, modern physics, and finally heat and thermodynamics. So that is indirectly I'm telling you that even if you ignore heat and thermodynamics, it's no big deal. But this electricity magnetism, that is the initial part of your 12th standard, is very, very important. So is mechanics. Especially in advanced, mechanics carries a very large weightage. Over last few years, this topic of optics is also seen to be increasing in weightage, but still mechanics has got more questions than optics. Now, let me again go back to the same mechanism I used in mathematics. So in physics, which one do you think are the basic topics which you should be aware of? So I would say the basic topic you need to be aware of in physics, which can help you across the topics, is your mechanics understanding. Now, what is mechanics? If you ask me, I will say any question in mechanics is basically about 2 or 3 concepts. Concept number 1 is your free body diagram. Extremely important. If you understand free body diagram, most of your force equation questions are done. Topic number 2, conservation of momentum, and topic number 3, conservation of energy. If these 3 topics are clearly understood, then most questions in mechanics, and from there on, most of the other topics like your electricity, magnetism can be easily done. So this is a few basic things. Now, and same thing, the same thing when I spoke about mathematics. So what I'll do is, I know you are asking questions, you have a few questions. So let me finish the physics part, then I'll start doing this, right? So it's the same thing which I told you about mathematics. There are a few topics where the ROI is highest. That is, these are simple topics. If you know them well, you will be able to score a lot of marks in it. I'm talking about topics like atoms, nuclei, circuits, SHM, waves, fluid, EMI. Not many questions come, but whatever questions come, you will be able to score full marks. Think about it. Circuits, very, very interesting one, right? Once you get a hang of it, you'll be able to get any question right. EMI, all you need to know is, if you understand the whole KCL and KVL right, you'll be able to do any circuit question, any EMI question, etc., etc. Atoms, nuclei, very few formulas. Questions are directly about application of the formulas. So these are topics which are small topics, but if you spend some time on it, you will 100% be able to score marks. Then this is another question which comes regularly. People keeps asking us whether they should skip or learn semiconductors and communication system. Now, semiconductors and communication system are a topic which is there in JEE mains but not there in JEE advanced. If you ask me, I would recommend to learn it because these are simple topics. Not much effort needs to go in it. You will be able to score good marks in JEE mains. And more importantly, these are 2 topics which forms the basic of, which builds your basics when it comes to engineering. If you're going to be an electronics engineer, most of your topics, your SSD topics, semiconductor topics will start from this chapter called semiconductors. If you're going to become an EC engineer, communication system is going to be your syllabus for next 4 years. So I would highly recommend not to skip it. At the same time, don't spend too much of time on these topics. Now, both with math and physics, what we will assert is that these 2 topics are about practice, practice, and practice. See, why do you think we made a product like this with a lot of videos? Because we have observed that students like you, what you guys do is that you will spend a lot of time learning theory. You get bored, you read pages and pages, you spend hundreds of hours, and by the time you're finished doing theory, all your time is over. Which is why we said that, okay, fine, we'll make videos which will keep you engaged, and in minimum time, you will learn all the concept. So you have a lot of time now to put on what that matters. And what is that matters? Practice, practice, and more practice. If you are a serious JEE aspirant, you should be doing at least 60 questions in maths and physics daily from October. That is, as soon as your portions are over, every day pick up a topic. Work out 60 questions. not one question less, 60 questions. Initially, you will take 6 hours to do it. Over a few weeks time, your speed will go to that level that you will be able to finish 60 questions in 60 minutes. I'm not talking about all tough questions. I'm talking about starting from the basic, going all the way to the toughest. Why 60 questions? It will give you the breadth. It will ensure that one full topic is over. It will ensure that all types of questions are done. It will ensure that all level of questions are done. So this is a few things I wanted to tell you. What we'll do now is, before going to chemistry, we'll just see a few questions which I've asked and then move on to chemistry. Okay, so there are a few very interesting questions which have come. Now, the good part about, Aman Savita asked me, what is the best book for JEE? See, Aman, I am assuming that you are an 11th standard student who has got a lot of time, and that's why you are asking for JEE books. See, what has happened is that, yeah, there are some very, very good books for JEE, like R.D. Sharma or one of those Arihant books. You can pick up any one of them, like Krishna's IIT Physics, IIT Maths. A lot of books are there. But what I will recommend personally is that, see, we have come to a stage wherein every question paper of JEE till today is available online with solution. There are a lot of players who have put it online. So rather than focusing on a book, what I would recommend is download last 10-15 years of JEE paper and work out the questions in those papers. There will be detailed solutions. There are forums available online where you can go and post these questions, get the answer. You can use our doubt clearing mechanism. So that would be a rather better way than having a textbook and following a textbook. So this is just this is just a suggestion. Then Arvind Aji asked this question. Is it important to concentrate on mechanics? I think I have already answered this question. See, mechanics is the second most important unit in physics. So you should, if you are interested in getting a good cutoff in physics, you should be focusing on mechanics. At the same time, I think that mechanics as a topic becomes the building block for math-based physics questions. So if you understand mechanics properly, you will be able to use a lot of simplification, lot of mathematical quantitative techniques you learn from that in other derivations also. So from that matter, and that is one of the reasons why mechanics is the first topics which is taught when you learn physics in high school. So from that aspect, learning mechanics is important. Ayush Das asked the question, how do you remember vast formulas in physics? My question for you, my friend, is that why do you need to remember these formulas? I mean, your time of learning formulas, applying the formulas, getting the answer is gone. If you are a very serious aspirant of JEE, what you will understand, what you will remember is not the formulas, but the concepts, the process, the reason, and hence the derivation. If you know how it came, if you know how it got derived, there is no need to remember the formula. You will automatically have it in your mind. So don't stress on formulas. Formulas is just an outcome of your understanding of the concept. Focus on concepts. Naveen Gowda asked me the question, how do you prepare for JEE without tuition? I don't think you need tuition to prepare for JEE. This is my personal opinion. All you need to have is a lot of motivation. So get motivated and then make a timetable. You will be able to prepare yourself. There is enough and more content available online. Lot of books are available. Rely on your library. You will be able to do it very, very easily. Ensure that follow it, make a timetable. More importantly, follow that timetable. From today, I mean, I see personally, I don't believe in putting 3 hours of time for every day, or sorry, not 3 hours, 9 hours of time, which is what people who study in these techno schools, I'm not taking names, put in every day preparing for IIT for 2 years. I don't believe in that thing. In my opinion, if you are able to, from today onwards, that is October, November, December, January, February, March, if you are able to put 3 hours of time daily in revising your concept and do a mock paper every week, you will be able to crack JEE without any problem. Very, very easily. But that has to be consistent and that has to be a rational process. Lot more question along with engineering. So there's another question, can a bio student attend JEE? Yeah, so the condition for writing JEE is you should have taken physics, chemistry, maths. So if you are a bio student and you can take an extra maths in your school, you will be able to attend JEE. So what we'll do now is I'll finish chemistry part also, and then I'll come back and see if we can take more questions. So where did I stop? I was telling you the importance of practice. Please ensure that you spend most of your time practicing rather than on those or trying to mug up concepts or mug up formulas or spend time in learning concepts. Try to learn concept fast, try to think about the concepts and try to learn, and what will happen is when you practice more and more, the intricacies of the concept you missed out in the first round of learning will automatically come out. So that's where I stop. Now let's go to chemistry. Again, in chemistry, so these days what is happening is that the chemistry of JEE is becoming more and more math oriented. A lot of math questions are coming in. A lot of topics where mathematics is involved, where reactions are involved, are getting higher weightage. So using that idea, let's start with the basic topic which everyone should be aware of. So the basic topics which you should be a master of is number one, the mole concept. You have to be a master of mole concept. It's the building block of physical chemistry, and it's one of those topics from where a lot of mathematical questions can be asked in chemistry. Second, periodic table. Again, a serious aspirant should have the entire periodic table in their mind. Now you can ask me, you just told me don't by heart any formulas, then why are you saying by heart periodic table? I'm saying by heart, I'm saying there are some exceptions and you have to by heart periodic table. You need to know which element, where is it location, which type is it, S, P, D, F, what is it atomic number, atomic weight, all these things should be at the tip of your finger. Now how do I do it? There are hundreds of mechanisms to do that, hundreds of tricks to do that. If you refer our video on periodic table, you can see that the teacher is giving you some hooks, right? He is telling you there are these sentences, remember this sentence and the first use the first letter of these of the words in this sentence, and then you can recreate one of those columns, right? So use such mechanisms. You will have to use such mechanism. You need to know the periodic table by heart. It is from there that a lot of ideas or a lot of questions can get answers to. So mole concept, periodic table, and lastly but not the least, organic chemistry. Organic chemistry. So when I say organic chemistry is the building block. The first chapter, reaction mechanism, is the building block for 7 chapters of organic chemistry. And believe me, students struggle like crazy. Why do they struggle? Because they try to by heart all the reactions, all the concepts in that 7th chapter. That's not how it works. What we need to do is, you need to understand the building blocks or the reaction mechanisms which actually decide how organic compounds react to it. And that's what your first chapter is. So use that first chapter as sort of a formula graph for the entire organic chemistry. Learn it and then see how your learning of organic chemistry changes. So these are the 3 most important basic topics in chemistry which you need to learn whatsoever it is. Then when you come to the topics which are of highest importance, chemical bonding, I don't need to tell you, the hybridization, the VSEPR theory, all these things. Why this top and so chemical bonding is a very, very important concept. Then comes the quantum mechanical ideas. So again, why this topic is important? This topic is important because this is again one of those topics where derivations can be asked. I'm talking about the Bohr's derivation. So as I told you, right, chemistry is more and more becoming mathematical. JEE advanced questions are about derivations. A lot of mains and advanced questions are getting mathematical. So obviously the inclination now is towards those chapters from where such questions can be given to you. Again, coming to periodic table, questions which are important are the ionization energy, the 13 to 18 groups. I know that this is a humongously long chapter. A lot of things to learn in this. One aspect which I have seen in a lot of students is that they try to learn this chapter in one go. Now the problem is that this is so vast that in one go it is pretty tough to do it. So I would rather recommend to look at this as a marathon than a sprint. Learn some of it over a period of time, keep adding on what you know. That will be a best way to do. Chemistry is also one of those subjects where a lot of theoretical questions come in. So theoretical questions are mostly focused on chapters like polymers, environment chemistry, chemistry in everyday life. Now these are typically chapters which are ignored by people. Now my suggestion is don't ignore them, because theory question means full marks. Why do you want to throw off full marks? So ensure that you spend some time on it. You will get 100% marks. One topic which I missed out, extremely important, is coordination chemistry. Coordination chemistry with isomerism, crystal field theory is again one of those topics from which a lot of questions comes in. So these are what you will need to focus in chemistry when it comes to doing JEE questions. Now let me again go back to questions. So one question by Divyanshu Agarwal is, any tips for students studying in class 11th? The tip is that, see, Divyanshu, I am sure that you have already decided that JEE is your objective, right? What you have enough time, so that's great. So what you need to do is, whatever you are learning, starting from 11th standard, whichever topic you are learning, don't think just from the perspective of board examination. Everything you do, every topic you learn, think from the perspective of JEE Advanced. That means you're learning mechanics today, you will learn mechanics till the level of JEE Advanced. By the time rotational dynamics are over for you, you should be able to do questions in mechanics at the level of JEE Advanced. You should be working out JEE Advanced papers for last 3 years of these topics today itself. If you're doing this, that means by September end, you will be ready and super strong with not only your basic, but with your practice also. After that, it will be a cakewalk. It will be only about doing mock tests to understand where all you can improve in strategy. So if you're starting in 11th, that's great. It's all about consistently putting that 3 hours day in and day out. Don't deviate from the topic, deviate from the timetable, follow the timetable. More important than making the timetable, it's following the timetable. So that's all you need to do. As I told you earlier, you don't need to study for 9 hours. You just need to study the topics regularly to the depth and to the conceptual clarity which is required for JEE. Satyadeep Singh is asking this question. I am facing problem in inorganic chemistry in all blocks, sir. How to improve? So you're facing it in all blocks means that you have not done that chapter at all. I would say go back to the basics again. There seems to be some problem in the way you have understood it. So go back to the basics, learn the entire thing again, and then start with very basic questions. Solve them down, get the confidence, then move on to the next one. There will be some topics like this where you will find that, okay, what is happening? I'm not able to understand anything. The way out is very simple. Start with simple concepts. When you are doing the simple questions, your conceptual clarity will keep on improving. Move on to the higher ones and eventually the JEE Advanced level. We'll go to the earlier questions. There are some Olympiad questions. Maybe we'll have a separate live on Olympiad. I don't want to mix up both. Okay, we will have a separate Olympiad live on Olympiad and connect how Olympiad level preparation can help in JEE. Let's focus on only JEE. Okay, so Shashi Kiran Gowda asks, where can I find the separate module on logarithms? So Shashi, I am assuming that you have downloaded the app, and if you download the app and go to the math section, logarithm is a separate chapter there. It covers everything starting from the basics of a logarithm, going back to properties, all the tricks and formulas, everything. All you need to do is understand that. Then questions about how to prepare for calculus. Yeah, so in my opinion, or in the way I have been doing calculus is that, see, rather than learning differentiation separately and integration separately, you should learn calculus as a whole unit. Start from functions, move to limits, learn continuity, then differentiability, differentiation, and finally integration. Because this is actually a continuous learning path rather than building blocks. So after your school completes your topics, individual topics, start looking at this as a whole, starting from limits, going all the way to integration. Why I'm telling this is, see, what I've seen typically in students is that they learn limits After some time, after a few weeks, they learn continuity. Most of the time, differentiability is not even taught. And if I ask them a question, what is the difference between limits, continuity and differentiability? Most of them will draw blank. I mean, forget the students. A lot of teachers don't understand the difference between them. And why does it happen? It happens because they have not learned it together. So that's all from us today. I think we have over exceeded the time. We will keep doing these kind of things regularly. Please sign in and ask us whatever doubt you have. Thank you so much for the time.